Our baby today is a 5-day-old infant who, at this point in time, is in an awake, quiet state with the eyes open, looking. First thing we want to do is just look at movements and look at the baby's tone. The baby is predominantly inflection tone, but has spontaneous movements in the upper extremities and also the lower extremities, and is looking around, having some sucking movements. And so the baby's in the quiet alert state. Then the arm should go into extension. He's very interested in eating right now. And that's a good way for a baby to quiet themselves and to organize themselves as far as sucking and finding their fifths. So that's a very good response. He doesn't like that. He blinks. So he does have a behavioral response to light. And again, if we repeat the stimulus, there's some habituation, so there just isn't the response, and that's a good normal response, to habituate so that with repeated stimulus, there just isn't as much response. We can do the same thing with sound. He alerts to that, and he actually looks almost towards the sound, and so it's a good response. Even responding to my voice. Again, he perceives that sound, he moves, and that's good. Okay. He says, I don't like that. Okay. You can see that having resistance as far as getting to the ear. What this maneuver is just the eye should go in the opposite direction, the head is turned. So if I turn one way, the eyes go in the opposite direction. And that's a normal response. You can see that we can get him in full range of motion, and his eyes are conjugate, they're together. We'd even do that in the vertical direction. Okay. Okay. You can see the doll's eyes maneuver is normal. Okay. Okay, he's got a good root. The next thing that we're going to do is just examine the upper extremities. And we'll start by just doing passive range of motion. And we'll just move the arms back and forth, move the arms across the chest, and just see the amount of tone in the upper extremities. What we're going to do now is just do arm traction, and we'll just take the arm and just bring it up, see if we can extend and bring almost the shoulder off of the mat. The baby pulls back on that. Doesn't particularly like that. Okay. Do the same thing over here. You can see the resistance there. Okay. We're just going to do the arm traction. Again, you can see the amount of flexion there, resistance, and that's normal tone. The next maneuver we're going to do is the arm recoil, which will bring the arms into flexion on the chest and hold them there about 5 seconds. And then suddenly pull the arms into extension, and the arm should come back into flexion. Okay, that's a normal response. We'll do that one more time. Keep the arms in flexion. And we'll extend the arms come back up into flexion. We'll now look at the tone in the shoulder girdle by doing a scarf sign. What we'll do is we'll take the arm and just bring it across the chest and try to pull it to the shoulder. And again, there should be resistance. We're bringing it to the midline. And do the same thing over here. Should be able to get it to the shoulder, but not beyond the shoulder. And you can see that we're eliciting kind of a root and a suck. He wants to be able to suck, and that's a good normal response. This would be a normal position for a baby's hand, where the fingers are in flexion, the thumb is coming across. It's not real tight, flexion, and we can get the baby to open the hand by stimulating the lateral aspect, the ulnar aspect of the hand. Okay. We're gonna look at leg flexion here. And a leg recoil, just bring it to the hip, and then we're going to quickly extend, and he should come back up into flexion. Do that one more time. He's got good tone, he's got good movement, good spontaneous movements as far as back and forth. And look at the ankle. And we're going to do just range of motion there. No evidence for clonus. Okay. Now we're going to look as far as just stabilizing one knee and flexing the other knee. So again, we can look and to see how much resistance there is at the hip. That's a normal response. Do the same thing over here. Okay. And we're going to do a leg traction maneuver and just see that this should remain in somewhat in flexion. So there's resistance there. We're going to do a lower extremity recoil. We're going to just bring the hips up and the leg, thigh into flexion of the chest. Hold it about 5 seconds and relax, and then quickly extend, and it comes right back up and recoils into position. We're now going to look at the popliteal angle, and we're going to bring the hip into flexion. Okay, there we go. Into flexion here, and then I'm going to extend the leg, and really you should not get much beyond a 90-degree angle. Should be resistance there. Let's do this side. Again, coming up and flexing on the thigh on the hip, and then extending the leg, and really should not get much beyond the 90-degree angle there. So that's good. That's good tone. We're going to look at the popliteal angle once more. You can have him flex his thigh on his hip fully, and then we're going to extend the leg. You can see that we can get to about 90 degrees, not much beyond that, and that's pretty normal. What we're going to do now is just do the heel to head. You can see that having resistance as far as getting to the ear. Okay. Then we're going to do heel to ear. Again, you can see a lot of resistance there at the knee and at the hip. You can get it almost up here, but again, there's a lot of resistance, and that again is a normal response. We can look at the tone of the neck by going past the range of motion to one shoulder, and then to the other shoulder. Okay, and that's very good. Which with this will be as well. There's a good Moreau. Okay, it's a very good Moreau. Okay. All right. I pull it up. He should be able to get his head up here, and he does. Okay, very good. All right. A little wobbly, but he's able to keep his head up for a few seconds before he tires out. And we can test the posterior neck muscles by putting a little bit back, and then see how he can pull up his head. He does a good job there. A little fussy. And then he brings his head up from being flexed on his chest, so head control is pretty good there. What we're going to do now is just put the baby in the prone position and see how he does. You can see that he's moving his head from side to side and bringing his head up, so that reflects good tone here in the head and the neck. Bringing his arms back here and see if we can bring them forward.